All right, we are back on the Andre Duke Show with Carter Smith. I got Richie filling in today. Rich, how we doing, man?
Hey Duke, what's going on, man? Happy Friday Eve.
Oh yeah, happy Friday Eve. I hope everybody out there is doing well. I just figured we would get a show in today. We are getting ready, gearing up towards the season. Everybody is coming off summer break. So, with that being said, if you can hit that like and subscribe button and help us get this thing going, get the algorithms going for uh, in the season, and we will answer some questions today and see what's going on. But, Rich, how have you been, man?
I've been doing good, man. Just been real busy this summer. With the girls and trying to enjoy some summer, and yeah, that's really it, man. What about you?
Oh, same old, same old. Can't complain. Just finished up the old T-ball action, so that is where we're at. It is summertime, so that is that is the main priority. But outside of that, we had the College World Series conclude. Um, LSU, big shocker, won it. I
When
believe
they when they win it.
they beat Coastal. They beat Coastal first two games.
Wow.
Um, the Pacers obviously fell short in the finals. We missed that as well. Um,
Yeah, that was brutal watching Halliburton get injured like that. That kid's been lights out all playoffs.
yeah, it's just one of those unfortunate things that that come with the territory that end up happening. But you know, in some aspects, some people think the show must go on, which is kind of one of those deals in sports that you got rolling. So it's Halliburton's had surgery, and that's pretty much where it's at. We'll see um, where it falls out, where it bottoms out. And I love all the people saying, "Oh, the Pacers, they'll be back," and I just think to myself, will they though? Because the last time they made the finals, it was 2000. It was 25 years.
Yeah, that was a very long time ago. I was in eighth grade. Or
So
going in freshman year. Who'd they play? They played the Lakers. Was it the Lakers?
yes, yeah,
Or
they
was it the
played.
Spurs? No, it wasn't the Spurs. No, it wasn't the Spurs.
It was the Lakers.
It wasn't the Lakers. Okay.
So that is some of the things that we missed while we were out. Richie's out there mowing various yards,
Yep. Yep.
self self propelled. You got
Yes. Yeah, it's a Toro self-prepared. The thing cuts like a dream.
Yeah. If Richie's not podcasting or doing the 9 to 5, he's out there just mowing random yards. So I
It's
just
good.
figured I.
It's a good workout. You burn about 650 calories in an hour. It's not bad.
So, but with that being said, we will get to it. Enough of the pleasantries. On the list today, Thomas Castellanos said this a couple of days ago. I know media days are going to be coveted. Ooh,
Coming in hard soon.
media days are going to be coming in hot and heavy here pretty soon. Um, One thing that he did end up saying is the new Florida State quarterback is he said, and when he was asked about Alabama, they don't have Nick Saban to save them. I just don't see them stopping me. Now, um, thoughts on that one? I don't.
That's quite a dig to Alabama.
I mean, I just don't know. I just don't know why you would think digging Alabama with no Nick Saban no Nick Saban would be a good idea.
And it's Florida plays Alabama this year, right?
Yeah, they play. I believe they open up with. I believe they
Man,
open
that's
up.
bull that's bulletin board material right there.
Uh, Let me see if I can pull that schedule up because I believe it is a week 3 matchup, and it is the Tide coming to
Gainesville.
no, not Gainesville, Tallahassee. Maybe it's week 2 because Wisconsin's got to go to Tuscaloosa week 3. Fighting Luke Fickles. Good luck, brother. That's all I got to say is good luck, brother.
Look, brother.
No, it's not week 2 either. I think it might be a week 1 matchup.
I think it
Right out
is.
the
I think
right
it
out
is right out the gate.
right out the gate 88. Also, here's another side quest. Could we maybe put some better matchups on? Because as I'm looking at the week 0 schedule, I get it. You have a a how do I want to say this? They're almost in every time window, but they play at noon, 6:30, 7:30 on week 0. You have you have Iowa State, Kansas State playing in uh, Dublin, which is whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't. I'm sure the people at Kansas State are real thrilled that they're selling a home game, a home conference game
At noon on
at
ESPN.
at noon on ESPN in Ireland because that's not going to cost any money.
Yeah.
And then you got Fresno State, Kansas. Kansas, I believe, is back in their home stadium this year.
Yeah, it says David Booth, Kansas Memorial.
And then Sam Houston, Western Kentucky, Stanford, Hawaii. Stanford only a 2.5 point favorite. The Rainbow Warriors, and then it doesn't really get much better, but that Friday slate is pretty good. I think a very interesting matchup is going to be Cincinnati, Nebraska. I'll be real interested to see what Nebraska is.
I'm curious to see how the Fighting Bulls of South Florida take on Boise State on Thursday night, August 28th, Duke.
Post Ashton Genty.
Correct.
Yeah, that might be an interesting look. Although I don't know why Boise State keeps doing this. They keep scheduling Southern teams at the beginning of the year when it's going to be hot as hell.
Oh, it's gonna be miserable down there, Duke.
Like they put Georgia Southern on the schedule last year, and they played at noon. I mean, it's still going to be 5:30. It's still going to be hottest. It's still going to be hot. But another thing, and then we'll get into some other stuff, and we'll save some other stuff too. Jacksonville State taking on UCF. What is Scott Frost going to look like? Being out of the coaching realm for a little bit, and then Charles Kelly coming over from Auburn last year, the defensive coordinator, previously at Colorado, where Colorado said he stunk, and Auburn had a top 5 defense, I believe, in the SEC.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It might have just been a personnel issue at Colorado, but when it comes to those guys, it's everybody sucks. Dion is king. So
Hey, man, you know what the real game is? Delaware State at Delaware.
oh yeah, I forgot. Delaware's in the CUSA this year.
Yep.
Conference USA. Um, Maybe Delaware State will not miss their flight this year like they did last year to go to Hawaii, and it was a mad dash to get there. I don't know if anybody remembers that story, but
I can just picture the whole team running like the McAllisters in Home Alone 2, trying to
Uh,
catch their flight.
I know I'm kind of spinning off topic here, but what are your thoughts on Wyoming coming to Akron?
I man, what a game!
Although that Friday, there's a couple compelling matchups. Um, Auburn, Baylor, Georgia Tech, Colorado.
Ooh, Robert Baylor, Georgia Tech.
And
Man, you know what? Those aren't bad matchups. Week 1 on
I
that
would
Friday
I
night.
would want to avoid Georgia Tech at all costs on week 1. Um,
Haynes King.
yeah, and then we have the Ohio State Texas game. That is the big nooner. Um, I know you're looking forward to that, Richie. I know you love how much you love the noon games.
Oh, I
Uh,
just love them.
I mean, it's going to be a big. It's you're torn, right, between
Oh,
the
yeah.
noon games because you have a big Kent State at Dixon Stadium's got a huge noon game.
Merrimack. I haven't heard of that school.
Could this be? I believe it's a out east school. Could this be Kent State's first win?
I'm crossing my fingers. I hope it is. Let's go in flashes. You got to get back in the win column, Duke. But I don't even
Um,
know. I don't even know who their coach is. Do we even know who their coach is? Josh Cribbs? Nick Saban?
uh, I don't know. Rich, you live in Stark County. You should have a better pulse on this than I do.
I haven't seen anything in the paper. Nothing.
You I would have thought, a guy so tapped in at the Pro Football Hall of Fame that we would be, I'm sorry that you got your 50-yard line sweet, but
That is true.
also an interesting number. Kentucky opens up as a 10-point favorite against Toledo. I have my eyeball on that because,
Didn't Toledo beat Mississippi State last year, right?
yes, they blew their doors off.
Yeah. Yeah. A MAC school taking down an SEC team.
If they beat Kentucky this year, the Mark Stoops. Okay, I'll indulge this real quick. The Mark Stoops thing, because the buyout is so big, I don't know what you do with that.
What's the buyout?
I think it's north of 50 or 40 million.
Shit, that's a lot. You just maybe ride them out for a couple more years. You have to.
Right. Hey, we got Doreen in
Hey,
the
boss.
house. Hey, Carter will be back next week. He's got some stuff to take care of. But the Mark Stoops thing is I don't I don't know what I don't know what you do with that because I mean even if you want the guy gone,
You're paying them that money. That's gonna tear a big hole in everything. With
it
this, it's gonna set the team back
well
as far
and
as
that
NIL money.
and that and that was something that I was kicking around in my head. You have now I think that when head coaches retire or they take another job, it completely destroys your program because the portal opens up instantly.
I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, look what happened with Alabama when Saban retired. All those guys hit the portal.
I mean, you lose Caleb Downs, you lose Julian Sand.
McLaughlin.
I think Alabama lost. I don't.
When this is like 40
Yeah,
something.
40 some guys, and I get it on Saban's end that it like he wasn't doing it to be malicious, but he's got uh he's got his thing that he needs to do, and he felt like it was time for him to leave. So I don't necessarily am going to fault Nick Saban on that, and then But also, I don't know what you do with the Stoops thing because it tears a hole in the program, and then if you don't want him to be the head coach, it's just a messy situation because they want to hire John Summerall. I know because he went to Kentucky, he's at Tulane. Um, but if I'm John Summerall, I don't take the Kentucky job. I don't touch the Kentucky job.
Mm-mm.
Just my opinion. I don't touch it.
Do you foresee Nick Saban going? Let's say in 2 or 3 years, LSU just pays that buyout and they bring in Saban. Saban comes back to LSU. You think that could happen?
No, Saban ain't gonna ever coach again. Now, what do I think he's doing? I think he's consulting. Like I think he's consulting with Alabama. Like you seen he was at Alabama taking pictures with recruits. I think he was a big advocate of bringing Rich Rod to West Virginia. Just certain things of that side of it to try to keep the program together. But I'm pretty sure Saban still has an office at Alabama to where he's there doing.
You, just like somebody else in Columbus, I would assume.
Well, but here's the deal with that guy. I think that guy will maybe coach again. Just my opinion. I think Urban will maybe take if if Texas opens up. I don't see how Urban just doesn't do it
Doesn't take it.
because he lives in Florida full time. Texas to Florida isn't as bad as Texas to Columbus or Michigan State, to where a lot of people speculated that he went there. Some people said the people that reported that were lying, and it's just one of those deals. But Alabama takes on Florida State at 3:30. Alabama 13-point favorites. I think with Alabama, you got to lay the number there, right?
Yeah.
Just a knee jerk. You gotta lay the number.
And hit that money line.
Well, the money line there wouldn't be much value there, but that number
Mm.
there will be. I bet that number by kickoff goes to either the Florida State people will come in heavy and bet that number down, or it goes way north. I think it goes way north. I think it gets into the 16, 17 point range. Florida State, Alabama, but and then Georgia plays at the same time.
Marshall.
Yeah, Marshall. They take on the Thundering Herd. Minus,
38 and a half.
although I did read an interesting stat in Phil Steele that Georgia is 0-9 against FCS opponents when covering the spread.
Ooh, might stay away from that. Might stay away from that one.
Just a little food for thought. Shout out Phil Steele. And then you have LSU taking on Clemson that week
Hey,
at
that's
7:30.
that's the game of the week. I mean, game day will be there definitely.
I don't know. I think game
No,
day is going to be in Columbus.
I think either LSU, Alabama, or Florida State, Alabama. I don't think they're going to be in Columbus.
Well,
Wait, no, wait, no, wait. Game day, no, game day is going to be in there because it's Corso's last game.
are they going to be at Florida State?
No, they're going to be in Columbus because it's Corso's last game. They're going to do he's going to do his headgear.
Oh yeah, and then they're retiring the headgear. I forgot about that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
But I mean, the week one has got some bangers. Um, I don't. Clemson's a 3-point favorite at home as of right now. Uh, Old Miss is 37.5-point favorite against Georgia State. I think that you lay the number there with Lane. I don't see how you don't.
I mean, the big one comes Sunday against Notre Dame in Miami.
Yeah, and then North Carolina has a standalone playing
Uh,
TCU. I don't know what that looks like.
I wonder if North Carolina loses, they'll probably call for Belichick's head.
Well, here's just an opinion I have on the Belichick thing because they're not. How do I want to say this? They're not doing the. I don't think they're doing any favors with the beat writers. So this is just knee jerk reaction. So when Belichick and them aren't having a good year and they're getting beat by NC State, Syracuse. I haven't really looked at North Carolina's schedule, but let's say they start out like 1-3. They are going to be crucifying him on the fan sites. And they're paying him $10 million a year, which they've announced. Yeah, it's going to be no bueno. It's going to be we weren't this bad under Mac Brown.
Mm-mm.
Although I will say that JMU hung 70 on him. Sorry, Jeff Collins, but JMU
Yeah.
did hang 70 on him. But also, real quick on the Saturday slate for Week 1, you have Big Ten after dark. You have
UCLA.
UCLA, Colorado, Washington, which Colorado State. Sorry, I don't know how good Colorado State is, but and then Oregon State, Cal, and Corvallis. It'll be interesting to see what Corvallis, the new stadium, looks like because they're on ESPN. And then Arizona State, after making the playoffs, are going to be on ESPN Plus. Make that make sense.
Yeah. I mean, they're playing Northern Arizona, but still, they made the playoffs. At least have the playoff teams on your network where people don't have to pay to subscribe.
Yeah, and hopefully there's no bidding war this year. Where
SMU's on the ACC network, which is owned by ESPN.
Sid comes in from the top rope. Bama 41, FSU 6.
Hammer it.
I don't know. But it's like, man, I look at that Castellanos thing and I just think to myself, like, why are you saying anything?
Just trying to make some noise. Just
But
trying to make some noise for the off season, give people something to talk about. But I mean, I'm telling you, that's going to be bulletin board material for Bama.
yeah, but we'll hit a little reset here, and then we'll get into the meat and potatoes of this, and we will talk some Notre Dame schedule. If you're watching out there on Twitter, come on over to YouTube. We got Sid, Doreen in here watching. Come on over to YouTube and hit that like and subscribe button and help us grow this thing. We also have the morning show, Steel City, for more NFL. It's more geared towards NFL rather than college football. We got our guy Richie here. Hit that like and subscribe button, and we'll be going pretty much every day except we'll be going Monday through Friday until the season starts, and then that's when we add Saturday in there. And we're looking forward to doing some pretty cool things this off season. So hit that like and subscribe button and help us grow this thing. So, Rich, transitioning into what's on the thumbnail, what is Notre Dame's toughest game this year?
Let me look here. Let me look.
Because a lot of the times have been announced. Obviously, Miami's a night game at Miami. They play Texas A&M. It's going to be also NBC and also on the cock.
I think at A&M.
A&M's at home.
Or A&M's. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know.
They got to go on the road at Fayetteville, but that's at noon. One of the sneaky games.
BC.
Yes, that was exactly where I was heading with this because even if I don't like the Boston College game on the road, and I also don't like the Stanford game at the end of the year. But I don't know if Stanford's even going to be good enough to put up a fight, though. They'll be about as maniacal as a box full of kittens. Who knows? Frank Reich's the coach. I mean, the portal opened. Andrew Luck canned Troy Taylor for allegedly being mean to staffers. I just don't know why they didn't just. And the more and more I thought about that, regardless if he yelled at him or whatever he did, why don't you just say you didn't like that he was 3-18 or 6-18? I don't know. I don't know what would be the point in firing him after spring ball. I mean, you kind of just not really mess up the program, but you're just punting on the package at that point. You're not,
And starting from scratch again.
and you bring in Frank Reich. Can Frank Reich coach football? Yeah. Is he going to be any good at Stanford? That I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath and say that Frank Reich is going to be the be all end all um, as far as that goes. So, I mean, um, I guess this happened earlier today. Penn State's quarterback, uh, Peyton Falzone flips to Auburn.
Whoa.
That
Auburn. Watch out for Auburn.
a lot of people are down on Hugh Freeze and the Tigers, but I'm not so sure that they ain't going to be very good.
You don't think Auburn will be good?
I think they will be good. I think they'll be
Oh,
better
you
than I think they'll be better than what people think. That is something that I am looking at.
I'm thinking like 9-3, Duke.
We'll get through Notre Dame's schedule and then we can take a peek at Auburn. I think Auburn and Florida are going to be better than what people think. So they go on the road at Miami. I've been seeing a lot of the Miami stuff has been, Notre Dame has no offense and that song and dance and Notre Dame's defense is overrated. Carson Beck had a bad offense. I don't Going back and looking at Georgia last year, I don't think that I don't think that the Carson Beck was the problem necessarily at Georgia.
They didn't have any whiteouts.
They didn't have any wideouts. They didn't have Lad McConkey, and they didn't have Brock Bowers.
Oh,
Like, I mean, I'm pretty sure that people could look fairly decent. I don't know if it'll be able to show me the breakdown, but Notre Dame is a 2.5 point favorite on the road at Miami. Hard Rock Stadium, 7:30 kick. Yeah, Miami stunk it up last year on defense. So that's just something to look at. I'm not a big fan of the road at Arkansas because Pig Sooie reached out and got Tennessee last year. And there's a lot of speculations whether this is Sam Pittman's last year at Arkansas. I would imagine. Um, like I've said in the past, I think Arkansas's first call is going to be Summerall, and if I'm Summerall, I don't take the Arkansas job. I wait on LSU
yeah.
because because I think if Brian Kelly goes to Death Valley and gets embarrassed, the
They're
the the
pitch,
calls the calls
pitchforks
will
and
be
torches.
they will be very loud to get rid of him. But outside of Arkansas, they got Boise coming to town, NC State, and then USC in the middle of October. And then I think they have a bye. It doesn't say on the schedule that I'm looking at. But
Notre Dame. They
Boston
got
College is TBA. I'm going to assume Boston College, Pitt, and Stanford are all going to be on ESPN. So that is just something that is going on with the whole TV aspect of it. I think that's why they haven't released the times. I
You know what the other game is interesting on Notre Dame's schedule is Syracuse.
yeah, with the whole Angeli thing, that is something that is he's going to have something to prove right before Thanksgiving. That is something that I'm looking at very closely. I don't know how good Syracuse is going to be this year. They were great with Kyle McCord last year. Would they go 8-4, 9-3, somewhere in there?
I think they went 9-3.
And Kyle McCord ripped up the ACC. Maybe Angeli will do that and turn himself into a draft pick. You can only hope.
Yeah, they went 9-3 regular season.
So that's just pretty much my thoughts on the schedule. I think the danger zones. I wouldn't be as shocked about the A&M thing if it was on the road again, but A&M's got to come north. Going down to Arkansas the end of September, not a real big fan of that. And then going on the road at BC. And every time Notre Dame goes on the road at BC, it hasn't been ugly. Circa, what was that, 2012, the year they went to the Natty, and they could not put up any points against Boston College. They couldn't, as Jim Morris says, we couldn't do diddly poo.
Little Jimmy Mora.
Um, Here's another interesting tidbit. Sacramento State's waiver to become an FBS school denied. Don't really understand the details on that, but they're denied. Uh,
Isn't Deshaun Jackson the coach out there?
no, not at Sacramento State. Sacramento State's the school that tried to hire Michael Vick right away, and then Norfolk.
Norfolk State. Yeah, hired him.
Yeah, they said you are not hiring our guy. Also, Texas State. Here's another interesting about the realignment thing. Uh, Texas State officials have informed the Sun Belt Conference they're expecting an offer from the Pac-12 in the near future. Sources told ESPN. The talks between Texas State and the Pac-12 have intensified in the last 24 hours, per ESPN sources. Although the formal offer from the Pac-12 to Texas State is yet to be delivered. So I guess Texas State is going to leave the Sun Belt and go to the
Pac-12.
Pac-12. That
2020. Yeah, 2026. So next year.
yeah.
Interesting. So what's that put the Pac-12 up to now, Duke? 10
Um,
teams?
that's what I'm getting. I'm getting ready to pull up the Pac-12. Well, it doesn't have it updated yet. Let me do a little quick little thing here. I know Gonzaga's joining the conference, but it's going to be
For
uh,
basketball.
it's going to be basketball only.
So
Hold
right
on.
now there's Boise State. 1, 2, 3. So that makes 16. So they're up to 8 right now for 2026.
Yeah, which makes them a conference. I don't know how they're going to let them try to be a power conference. I don't think that jives, in my opinion. just because you have 8 teams, I don't. Are they better than Conference USA? Most likely, but are they better than the MAC? Is Washington State better than every team in the MAC? I don't know. They got their doors blown off by Boise State last year on the road. So there's a lot to be desired there. But so the Mountain West, if as I'm looking at this, the Mountain West loses Boise State, Colorado State, Fresno State, San Diego State,
Yep.
Utah State.
Utah State.
So that leaves the Mountain West with Wyoming, UNLV, San Jose, New Mexico, Nevada, Hawaii, and Air Force. I don't know what they do there.
They should just absorb the Mountain West.
I just don't see why they just didn't bring everybody.
Yeah.
I think if you're smart, if you're Air Force, you join the American. I don't, because the American is a better fit and none of these other schools can go. And then I also think that if I was a betting man, I would say Memphis moves into the Big 12.
Yeah.
Maybe Tulane. Because I think if you take Memphis and Tulane out of the American and you add Fresno, or not Fresno, but if you add Air Force, I just I just can't believe how quick the American got raided overnight.
I mean, they were, yeah, pillaged.
So because they took what, Cincinnati, Houston. Was TCU in the American for a little bit? I don't think so.
I don't think they were.
UCF
They
maybe.
were. TCU was in the Mountain West, and they joined the Big 12.
Hold on, I am looking for this because I'm curious now.
With TCU?
Yeah, the past members of the their past members. This MacBook is very frustrating. I'm getting there, Rich, and then we'll get into. So, the American Athletic Conference has had several past members due to conference realignment. Key departures reads as follows, Rich. Louisville and Rutgers in 2014. UConn, Cincinnati, Houston, UCF, SMU, but they also added members, including East Carolina, Tulane, and Tulsa. So those are the members they've lost. So SMU went to a big boy conference. Houston, Cincinnati, UCF, and Louisville. I believe UConn is independent.
Yes, they are independent.
I don't get that, but okay.
They should go join the American
I would think, but they left.
or rejoin them. Yeah. Or go to the ACC for basketball.
No, I think the UConn people would freak out if they tried to leave the Big East. That is something that is fascinating. But in other news, I guess we can get off this realignment thing and get back to more pressing matters. Ari Wassman released a bracket, although I don't have it for show. With the new formatted playoffs, the bye teams are Texas as the 1 seed, Penn State as the 2, Clemson 3, Ohio State 4, and then the matchups 5 and 12 is Boise, LSU. That he has LSU as a potential playoff team, and then Illinois sneaking in there for Ari, playing Oregon. And then Georgia, which I don't think the TV networks would ever do this. Georgia, Alabama, first round playoff matchup. No chance.
No chance in hell.
And then you have BYU sneaking in for the Big 12, playing Notre Dame as the 6 versus 11. But as he has his bracket filled out, he's got Oregon moving on to play Texas, LSU moving on to play Ohio State, Notre Dame moving on to play Clemson, Alabama moving on to play Penn State, and then it reads as follows: Texas over Oregon, Ohio State over LSU, Alabama over Penn State, and Clemson over Notre Dame. And then it is Texas over Ohio State, Clemson over Alabama, and then Texas over the whole GD thing. And you have Texas as your national champion.
That's a great pick 'em for your dynasty in college football 26.
Yeah, I look at some of that stuff that the preseason stuff is really tough to determine. I would much rather pick win totals. So,
I think Ohio State goes 11-1.
And their only loss is Texas. I think they'll beat Texas. I really do.
I don't know. I think Texas has got a bitter taste in their mouth, and I think they're going to come out.
If Arch Manning is everything that they say he is.
Yeah. Oh, and if they have a healthy tailback, CJ Baxter. They lost CJ Baxter last year.
Yeah. So here's where I land on this. If Arch Manning is everything that he's billed as, which we can get to the Spurrier stuff here in a second after I reset the show. Let me find the Spurrier stuff. Who did I send that to? That's what I'm looking for. I thought I sent it to somebody. But anyway, long story short, the Spurrier stuff is basically if Arch Manning is as good as what they're saying, if they have him winning the Heisman, basically they are basically why didn't he play over Quinn Ewers last year?
Yeah, why didn't they insert him last year? Because we were saying that last year. Like they have an Arch Manning problem. Remember that, Duke?
Yep. Oh, here it is. Steve Spurrier not sold on the Arch Manning hype. Here's the quote. Most people are picking Texas to win the SEC in football. They've got Arch Manning already winning the Heisman too. My question is if he was so good, how's come they let Quinn Ewers play all that time last year? He was a 7th round pick.
That's a great point by the old ball coach.
I believe Spurrier's got a Heisman Trophy, right?
Yes, he does, from Florida.
He's got a Heisman Trophy, and he has a national championship as a coach. I don't think it gets any more qualified than that, just in my humble opinion, but what do I know? Oh, yeah, reset the show. We'll do some best and worst case scenarios, and then we will most likely get everybody out of here. If you're watching on the X machine today, come on over to YouTube and join up in the chat and hit that like and subscribe button and help us grow this thing. College football is almost upon us. It is almost here. You don't want to miss the action we got going on this channel. And then as soon as the NFL comes around, we're going to be going in the mornings. I will be solo doing a little Steelers talk and a little whip around the NFL. So that's another show that we're adding to the channel through the network. But the evening show will always be college football. So with that being said, hit that like and subscribe button. Hit the like and subscribe button if you hit the like button if you like college football. So that is where we're at. Rich will get some best and worst case scenarios, and we will hit the road for the evening. Starting off in Columbus, Ohio State, best case scenario 12-0.
12-0. Worst case scenario 9-3.
Yep, got that right. Michigan, best case scenario 12-0. Worst
12-0.
Worst
8-4.
No, you're one game off. 7-5.
7-5. Okay.
Oregon, best case scenario 12-0. Worst case scenario is
9-3.
8-4.
Ooh, I almost said 7-5, but I went with 9-3.
Penn State's best case scenario is 12-0. Worst case scenario 9-3 for the Fighting Nittany Lions. Now, I'm going to go on record and say at the beginning of the year that I think last year that we were proven that they're not going to put a 9-3 team in the playoffs. Just so everybody is clear, they're not putting a 9-3 team in the playoffs. I think 10 wins and you're in if you're a Power 4 opponent. So that is just something to have a little food for thought. It's 10 wins or nothing. So you got USC, best case scenario, 11-1, worst case, 5-7.
Oh, I was gonna say 6-6.
Washington 11-1. Honestly, I gotta see it from Washington and the Fighting Jed Fishes because there's a lot of people that are really high on Washington. I just would like to see that product before I buy stock in it. They're 11-1 and 7-5 or 5-7. Illinois 11-1, 5-7 as well.
See, Indiana, I was gonna say 10-2, 6-6.
Indiana is there, but to me, this scenario is saying it screams that they think Indiana, Illinois, and Washington could all be playoff teams. That's what it says to me.
Burt Bielema rises from the ashes, gets into the playoffs.
Oh, dude, the people in Wisconsin are going to be freaking out.
Oh, they are.
The cheeseheads will be freaking out. I know that. Iowa 10-2, 8-4, but I don't know. Death taxes in Iowa going 8-4 is not out of the realm. But Kirk Ferentz has been doing it for a long time, and when they're really good, Iowa is really good.
They are.
Mike Locksley in Maryland is 9-3, 3-9. That's a hell of a bipolar. That's bipolar.
I was gonna say 8-4, 4-8.
Nebraska 11-1, 7-5.
See, I think Nebraska will go 10-2, 6-6.
Yeah, I just one of those things with Nebraska. I think Matt Rule needs to have a good year.
That's the second year, isn't it? Out in Nebraska.
Year 3.
Oh, it's year 3. Oh.
But I think the first year when he got there, it was a depleted mess.
Oh, yeah, with what was going on with Scott Frost.
The second year, I don't think it was much better. And then this year, I think you could see the proof of concept with it getting better, trending to the right direction. But I just it's going to be tough. I mean, he's got Rayola. I'm hoping they're good, but I don't think that. I think Matt Rule's another year away, and
Right.
I think that the year that they're really good, they're going to have Rayola's last year because I'm assuming he's going to be a top NFL prospect, and he's going to go after his junior year. So, but hopefully Matt Rule can build upon the success. PJ Fleck in Minnesota. I heard some grumblings that the Minnesota people aren't really happy with PJ Fleck, but I just think to myself, who are you going to get to replace him? Who wants the Minnesota job? It's in the middle of nowhere.
It's nowhere and it's always cold.
And I don't see how they don't have NIL money out the wazoo either, with Target being there.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm not in charge of that program. I'm only in charge of me. And then Michigan State seems like very bipolar on this graphic as well. 9-3 or 3-9.
I see 8-4, 4-8.
I think Michigan State is 6-6, but that's just my opinion. But you have big ends of the spectrum here. I mean, with Wisconsin, it's 8-4 and 3-9. I don't know. Does Fickle survive this year at Wisconsin after they gave him the extension?
Now if they go 3-9.
You think he's safe at 6-6?
I think he's safe at 6, and as long as he can get to 500, I think they'll give him one more shot. One more shot, see what he can do in 2026. Anything less than 6-6, sorry, Luke.
Northwestern 7-5 or 2-10. I think Northwestern's going to stink out loud, but that's just me. Purdue, Barry Odom, I think he cycled through like 60 some kids.
It's a lot.
He completely bust turned the roster, so I don't know what Purdue's
That's
going
like
to be.
3/4 of the team, Duke.
Yeah, so I think that with what happened at their post Ryan Walters and all that fun stuff, I think that if you told me Purdue went 1-11, I wouldn't be shocked. If you told me Purdue went 6-6, I wouldn't be shocked.
I'd be shocked if they went 6-6.
Okay, let's pull up the schedule. Now I'm curious. Because I know they open with Indiana State.
Nope, they play Ball State week 1. The Salukis week 2.
So there's 2 wins.
USC week 3.
Probably losing.
Notre Dame week 4.
Probably losing.
Off week 5. Week 6, Burt Bielema.
Probably losing.
The Golden Gophers week 7.
With it being at Minnesota, probably losing.
Northwestern.
I think they can beat Northwestern. So
Schiano and the Scarlet Knights.
Puts them at 4-3.
Team up north, November 1st.
No. What is that? I think that they can beat Schiano because Schiano's teams are bad on offense.
Very bad.
So that puts them at 3-5.
Ohio State.
3-5 with a loss to Michigan, a loss to Ohio State, loss to Washington, and they're going to get boat raced to Indiana. So they're going to be 3-9 if nothing crazy happens. But we'll finish out this last little tidbit here. Rutgers 9-3 or 3-9. That's the best and worst there, and then UCLA at 9-3 and 2-10. I don't know how good UCLA is going to be.
Yeah.
I'm just
2-10.
UCLA.
Yeah, even though they got Nico, I mean, he's not going. It's not going to be anything special.
Um, uh, Justin Tucker suspended personal conduct policy.
Yeah, there were some allegations floating around.
So, Also, Pete Nakos with this quote from Arch Manning on Garrett Nussmeier. I think we're both on the same page about that. The SEC championship, national championship. Signer callers sharing the same goals, Rich.
Ooh.
So I don't know. I think that the Big Ten will be interesting. One final note before we get everybody out of here. Brett Bielema implies that Josh McCary got tampered with. Um, I don't know where you sit on the Big Ten schools complaining about tampering, but I'm just kind of over it, to be honest.
Yeah, because everybody does it.
That is where I'm at on it. I'm just kind of over it. I don't care really.
Oh,
Um, if they're gonna tamper, they're gonna tamper. That's just one side of the coin on it. I get it; it's short sighted, but there's no guardrails. There's no anything on that. We'll have to see how the Castellanos thing pans out for Florida State. So I don't know. Um, but with that being said, I guess we could buzz through North Carolina's schedule really quick. We got 3 minutes here. They open up with TCU. Don't know what TCU is going to be. I couldn't tell you what they're going to be. TCU is not on a. They're not one of the schools that I follow closely, so I don't know. That's a toss up. I'm assuming they're going to beat Charlotte, Richmond, and then
UCF.
I don't know, with Scott Frost.
Yeah, I think they beat him.
And then he's got Clemson coming to town.
Oh, well, that's going to be a loss.
Then they have Virginia. I would say they would win that. And then on the road at the Carrier Dome, don't like that one for Bill. And then they got Stanford in the Atlantic Coastal Conference. If anybody owns a map, we'll find the funniness in that.
Yeah, make sense.
And then at Wake Forest, I think Wake Forest is maybe a little poo-poo. And then Duke and at NC State.
They'll beat Duke. They'll beat NC State.
I don't know if they'll beat Duke. I think Duke will be better than what people think. NC State, no quarterback. That's the problem.
Yeah.
We'll have to see what that is. So, final tally, we're saying 1, 2, 3. I think UCF beats them. But
See, I think UNC beats them.
I don't know. I'm not going to say Scott Frost is a better coach, but it's going to be tough on the Belichick evaluation for the college football because of the recruiting aspect of it. That's the tough thing that makes it tough to evaluate. Because you could be like Hugh Freeze year one at Auburn and um, literally have no one. So that is something else to monitor. I guess maybe tomorrow we can get get into the top 10 biggest games, who's going to be X factors, and the NCAA 26 toughest places to play. That list is out as well. But anyway, I'd like to thank everybody for showing up tonight. Hit that like and subscribe button and help us keep this thing going. That is something that we are trying to do, keeping this going. But anything, Rich, do you have any closing thoughts?
No closing thoughts. We're just one more day closer to football season, Duke.
So, I guess with that being said, everybody have a good night, and we'll catch up with you tomorrow. And that'll be that. So, everybody have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, everyone. Have a great one.